This is Dolores Cannon again with the Metaphysical Hour. And we'll be talking to you by myself tonight. I don't have a guest tonight. But that's the way it happens every once in a while, that when I'm traveling, it's very hard for me to try to line people up. But you know me, I've got enough material that I can talk for hours. I've done it. I've done it for days in some places when I've been giving lectures. And I know there's many, many of my books that I have not even touched on yet. I've had this show now for almost 2 years, and there's a lot of material that I've never even talked about. So we can always go into things like that. But before we start, let me go ahead and give you the toll-free number, just in case anybody does want to call in. The number is 877-876-5227. 877-876-5227. Okay, before we get going, I do want to tell people about some of the things that I'll be doing in the next few months in case people want to come to the lectures. This next weekend in September, right now it's the August the 31st, it's the last day of August, but next weekend in September, I'll be speaking in Ashtabula, Ohio. Going up there, and it's the foundation that I've spoke at before when I've gone there, and we've always draw a very big crowd there, but it's in Ashtabula, Ohio, and I'm going to be doing something on 3 different days, a different thing each night, and then I have an all-day. I believe it's on the Sunday, but you can find out the more information about these things on the website, and they'll tell you the contact numbers of who to call. The weekend after that, I'm only going to be home for like 2 days, and then I go to Chicago, and I'll be doing a class up there. I just finished class in Fayetteville here. At least that's one I didn't have to travel very far for, because it's very close. But the one before that, the weekend before that, I had a class in Utah. So I'm doing a lot of these classes now, and those of you who know my work know that I have a very unique type of hypnosis that I have developed myself. And I've done it over the last 30 years, because you know that I've been doing hypnosis for 40 years, but before that it was normal hypnosis. But the last 30 years, as I've been specializing in the regression therapy, past life and regression therapy that I do now, I developed my own technique that is very unique because it allows access to the subconscious mind directly. We can put the person into the deepest possible level of trance very quickly, the Sunambulistic level, and at that level we can block out all of the conscious mind and all the conscious mind interference. And once you block out that conscious mind interference, then we can really get to the good stuff. We can get to all of the information, and that's where the information I write about in my books comes from, and that's where the therapy that I use comes from, because we can have miraculous results with the healing and like I do work a lot with people with physical problems, diseases, illnesses. Many of them are getting ready to have operations. We do a lot of that in my office. I also work with family problems. There's a lot of counseling, but it is all done with past life therapy. But I've found with this technique that I've developed, we can go deep, very quickly, block out the conscious mind, go into this a Sunambulistic level where we can communicate directly with the subconscious mind. And once you get there, it's just endless, the things that can happen. And it's quite miraculous to be able to have a conversation with the subconscious. And I've told many people this on my shows, and the ones who read my books know this, that I've done thousands and thousands of people this way, and the subconscious, when we contact it, always sounds the same. Always uses the same words, the same terminology. You know you are speaking to the same thing, if you want to call it that. It is so huge and so big and so powerful that it has tremendous knowledge and tremendous power. And to me, it's like speaking to an old friend on the telephone, because when I do the sessions, it always knows who I am. These people come from all over the world. There's no way there could be any connection with any of this. But as soon as I get them into that state, the subconscious comes through, and it loves the person and it wants to help the person, and it just opens up with all this tremendous information. So that's the part that I work with, and I give the classes now. I'm giving the classes all over the world, teaching people my technique. And when I began it about 5 years ago, teaching the classes, at that time I kept thinking, well, how can you teach something that you have developed? I didn't know if I'd be able to or not. But Dr. Henry Bolduc is the one that encouraged me. He's a hypnotherapist also, and he was teaching hypnosis. And he told me one day at a conference, he said, you must teach. He said, you have found something we don't understand. You have to pass it on. So that's when I began thinking about it, and I didn't know for sure if I could do it or not. But I did begin 5 years ago with what I called my guinea pig class, and this was the first 10 people that I taught. And I called it the guinea pig class because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to teach this or not. And some people have said, weren't these people insulted that you called them the guinea pig class? I said, oh no, because they said there will always be just the first one. There will never be another first class. And a lot of them jokingly have said they wanted to put GP behind their name for guinea pig. But a lot of the people now that I'm teaching all over the world are telling me it does work, and they are having tremendous results with it, and they're having the same kind of results that I am having. And it is just fantastic to watch the person be healed, to watch their problems be solved, and we know that we are not doing it at all. There's a higher power that is involved and is doing the work. I'm just the facilitator to direct it and to allow it to happen. So this is why I'm so involved now in the natural healing and the alternative healing, because I think that's where it all is. And I keep trying to steer people in that direction. And I've had many people on my show who are medical doctors who have gone over into the natural healing. So I'm working a great deal with these kind of people all over the world. And they are also wanting to learn the technique. So I'm giving a class. The next class is going to be in Chicago, and that is 2 weeks, because this next week is Ashtabula, Ohio, but that's lectures and workshops. The weekend after that is the Chicago class. Then the end of September, I go to Australia and New Zealand. I'll be gone for 6 weeks. So when I get to New Zealand first, the first 2 weeks of October, I will be in New Zealand, and I'll be going to Wellington. I'll be doing some lectures there in Wellington, and then I'll be doing a class in Wellington. I believe this is the first weekend in October, but these dates, I don't have a calendar in front of me. So I would suggest you go on our website to find out more about this, because I do know people in Australia and other parts of the world do listen to this show. So the first week in October, I will be in Wellington doing a class. I'll be in New Zealand for 2 weeks. I'm going to have a little bit of fun while I'm there. I don't usually get time to do that because I'm usually so busy working. But we have some really, really good friends that live in New Zealand, down in Christchurch, and they want to take us on a little vacation while we're there. And I'm not going to argue with that. They're going to take us down to Queenstown, and I have been there to New Zealand before, and I've been to these places, and it's going to be nice just to have a nice vacation for a couple of weeks. There will be 1 week anyway when I'm not doing the classes. I really love New Zealand. I'm always telling people, if you want to go anywhere on a vacation, go to New Zealand. One thing, it's not very populated, but what I liked about it was I've never seen a sky as blue as the sky in New Zealand. And I was down in Christchurch on the South Island. It's a blue you can't even describe. And there's no pollution. And I came up with my own theory about all of that. I think it's because the air is coming from Antarctica. This is the first continent, the first piece of land it will pass over as it comes that direction. And my theory is that's why the air is so pure and the sky is so blue, because the air hasn't had a chance to pass over polluted areas yet. And this is why that part of New Zealand is just so beautiful and so pristine. It'd be the best word, I guess you would say for it. And, of course, Queenstown is the adventure capital of the world. They said everybody goes there because there's all kinds of things going on there. But my friend, when I first went down there, we're going through beautiful flower gardens, and I was thinking, do I have to worry about snakes, or like here we have ticks and chiggers, any kind of things like that. He says, no. He says, you're in paradise. He said, what is that? I heard a beep on there. Okay.
Hello?
What?
Hello, Dolores?
I wondered what that beep was. I could hardly, speak up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm calling in. I have a question for you.
Okay, I was just going to give my itinerary, and then I was going to go into the talk, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Well,
I'm not used to people calling in, so I wasn't sure what it was.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is the first time I've listened to you, and I'm not sure if this is an appropriate question for you or not.
I've been on the air now with this show for 2 years.
Well, shame on me.
I have 13 books in print.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I just started listening to BBS radio, and it's wonderful. So,
oh, okay. Well, you said you don't know if the question's appropriate, but go ahead.
I'll ask it, and then you can tell me if it's appropriate or not. I have some type of medical condition that the doctors cannot identify. And
I hear that a lot.
I don't know if that's something that you need to do. I was wondering if you could help me with that.
Well, see, it's private sessions is what I do.
Oh, okay. That's what I wondered. I wasn't sure if you were able to do that online or what.
Oh, no way, because I work in the deepest possible level of hypnotic trance.
Okay.
And I have to be with the person because I have to monitor the person's body the entire time we're doing the session. But I've learned that, what I've found is every ache, pain, symptom of the body is the subconscious trying to give you a message. It's trying to tell you something in the only way it knows how. And a lot of times this is inducing pain or different symptoms. And if you don't get the message, you don't understand what it's trying to tell you, it gets a little worse and a little worse because it's still trying to get your attention. And then eventually it can lead to something that is much harder to rectify, to help with.
Well, I'm at the point now where I'm almost an invalid. And
what is the parts of your body? Because I've learned now that the subconscious will affect the same parts of the body with the same message. It's very literal. What parts of your body are affected?
What I've had diarrhea for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And I've been to doctor after doctor, and they all tell me something different or tell me, just take this pill.
Yeah, it's always a pill.
I have not used the pills. I just don't, that's not the answer.
Well, either a pill or it's surgery. That's their only answer.
Right. I won't do either, but I'm stuck.
Well, see, you haven't listened to the show. I've had a lot of medical doctors who have gone over into the alternative field, and they've been on my show a lot also. But is that the only problem is the diarrhea?
Well, it's fatigue.
Well, naturally, if you've got diarrhea a lot.
Yeah, I can't digest anything anymore. It's just...
But you said you're almost an invalid. What do you mean?
Well, I don't have enough energy to hardly get through my day. I spend most of my time resting.
Then do you have a job, or I guess you could?
No, I couldn't with this.
Okay. You know what diarrhea signifies?
Tell me.
In metaphysics and with the work I do.
No, what?
Trying to eliminate something out of your life.
Oy.
If it go back to what's going on in your life right now.
Wow.
Is there anything in your life you would like to get rid of?
Well, I'd like my husband to be well.
What's wrong with him?
He is disabled. He, I guess 3 months after we got married, he was diagnosed with a muscular condition. And he's handicapped. He needs care.
I can barely hear you.
I'm sorry. He's handicapped. He needs, round-the-clock care.
Yeah.
And he's my husband. There's no way I can leave him. No way I would consider it. But I don't know what to do for myself.
How long has you been married?
We've been married 8 years.
So this has been going on for the last year then?
It's been going on for longer than that. I mean, his condition has.
Yeah.
But I think it just got to the point where it overwhelmed me.
Because you were saying that it started right after you got married.
His condition did.
That's what I mean. His condition started right after you got married.
Yeah.
Okay, and it has to do with the muscles, you said?
Yes, it's a muscular condition. He's losing his muscles.
Yeah.
And they say it's an autoimmune condition that he has.
Okay. See, that's the kind of thing that I work with, but I'd have to talk to him and find out what's going on in his life.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, everything that happens to the person is happening for a reason. The ideal state of the body should be absolute health and perfection.
That's right.
If there's anything going on at all, that means the subconscious mind is trying to tell you something. That there's because we make ourselves sick.
I totally believe that, and I've worked and worked to try to find the answer to this.
Because if our mind is powerful enough to make ourselves sick, it's also powerful enough to cure us once we figure out what it is that's wrong and why we did this to ourselves.
Yep.
And that's what I work with. And a lot of times the person doesn't know on the conscious level what it is, because people say, I don't want to be sick. I don't know what you mean. But if you go through their life, and that's what I do when I'm having a session with someone, I spend up to 4 hours with the person, because I do a lot of talking and discussing with you and find out. It's all very personal. Nobody else is there. And we discuss what's happening in your life and what it's all about. And so that way when we have the session, I can know what to ask. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what to ask if somebody just comes in.
Right.
You got to know something about the person. And but is he at the point where he can't go anywhere either?
He can't. He needs to be accompanied at all times. Yes. And
so he can't work either. Then is that right?
No, he's retired. He was. He just had his 80th birthday, actually.
Oh, he's 80.
And I've checked in with his spirit, and to see what's going on with him, and he talks about wanting to be well, but his spirit's saying no, don't mess with me.
Yeah.
And that's leaving me in a dilemma.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 65.
Well, you sound a lot younger than that. That's why I wasn't sure, Especially when you're saying you just got married. I was thinking maybe you were a young couple or something.
No, we're at this age, but he's...
Okay, but I can see what you are doing, but it's not that easy to fix over the phone because you are sympathizing with him. Your body is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You're taking on things. We think we're helping, but actually we take on the symptoms of the other person, especially when you're around them a lot. The body wants to be in sympathy with them. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, I do. I hadn't thought of that before, though.
Diarrhea means you're trying to flush something out of your life.
Yeah.
Something you're not comfortable with. And I know that doesn't sound like what you want to hear, but the body doesn't lie. It tells you something.
Uh-huh.
Now, that means...
Does that mean...
You're trying to get him well, but you're sympathizing to the point that you are becoming an empath. You know what an empath is?
Yes.
That means you're identifying too closely with him.
Wow.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it does.
Have you had anyone that does Reiki or energy work do anything with him?
No, not specifically. We've done a lot of alternative health work, and we've spent almost every penny we have.
Is he taking any minerals or any natural substances?
He's taking quite a few.
Yeah.
And I think it's, according to the doctors, he should have passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah.
The doctor said, "I'll keep you alive for 5 years." Well, it's been a lot longer than that, you know. So,
well, he's not ready to go yet, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's trying to hang in there, probably for you.
Oh, wow.
You know, it may be because maybe that's what he's identifying with, that he wants to, maybe he thinks you need him. It's kind of hard to do this over the telephone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but wow, you're giving me some insights that I hadn't thought about before.
Yeah. But you said it's his muscles. Which muscles in particular?
Well, it started out with his thigh muscles, his quadriceps.
Your voice keeps breaking up.
I'm sorry. It started out with his quadriceps, his leg muscles.
Oh, his leg muscles, okay.
Yeah, and it's progressed into his arms, and they say that this condition will progress into his organ muscles, and that's usually what causes the death, is when it progresses into the organ muscles, like the heart and that kind of thing. So,
see, the doctors love to put labels on things.
Yeah, don't they, though?
You know, they have to call it something. But the legs is where it started out.
Yeah, that's where
that's been a year ago, or was it longer before that?
No, that was in 2000 when it was diagnosed, but he had it for some time before that, the doctors say. Okay. Before it really manifested.
Is it in what part of the leg?
The thigh, the top of the thigh, the quadricep muscle. That's where it began.
Is it down in the knees or down further in the legs?
The knees are what gave out on him first.
They gave out?
Yeah.
Okay. And down into the lower part of the legs?
It's the whole leg.
The whole leg, all right. Is it both legs?
Yes.
Okay. Because, see, what I found is when the hips, thighs, knees, legs are affected, this means you're not moving in the right direction. You're holding yourself back.
Yeah.
And it's like you're at sometimes, that's why I was wondering when it began. It means you're at a crossroads. You're being offered a chance to do something different, and you're not sure you want to do it, and you hold yourself back. This can be a job. It can be anything. And you hold yourself back, and that's what causes the pains in those parts of the body.
Oh, interesting.
But does that make any sense? Was he working before that or anything?
Well, he's been a cattle rancher all his life. And there was conflict. He and his brother were equal partners, and there's been conflict between the two of them all his life, and he has been the one who has stuffed it all his life. And so I think that's part of the issue.
Well, you said it was a partner?
Yes. His
business?
Yeah,
Okay. Was he at that time at a position where he could have got out of it?
He wanted to.
Yeah, okay.
He wanted to. Yep.
But he didn't do it.
He didn't do it because in fact, we had started the process of dissolving the partnership, but it was quite expensive, and a drought happened to hit us then, and we had to quit.
Yeah.
We had to stop the process because we didn't have the funds to do it.
Okay.
But we're starting that again.
But then he never got out of it then.
No, he never got out of it.
See what his body's trying to tell him? Because that's what that part of the body represents.
Wow.
Holding back.
Uh-huh.
Not moving in the direction you're supposed to move in.
Right. Wow.
Now, the right side of the body represents now, right now, things that are going on in life right now.
Yeah.
The left side of the body represents the past. So he's apparently holding on to things from both the past and what's in his life right now.
That could be. Yeah.
That's why it's affecting both sides. A lot of people come to see me, it's only one side.
No, this is both.
So that means he is both. He's having problems with letting loose of what's in his life right now, and also letting loose of things from the past.
Well, I understand that. He was widowed twice before we married.
Yeah.
And his first wife passed away had a very, very long, lingering passing. And he was her caretaker.
Yeah.
And I think that has affected him deeply.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always wondered if that was part of the problem.
Well, he's still holding on to something from the past.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking about the partnership if it's been going on for a long time.
Well, his whole life.
Okay. See, that's also from the past.
Yeah, that is true. Uh-huh. That's right.
But see, now it's the arms.
Yep. The arms are going now, and it...
Is it the hands?
Uh-huh. His hands also.
See, he's not wanting to release something.
Oh.
He's holding on too tight.
Oh, wow.
Because, see, the subconscious is very literal. It tries to tell us things, but we don't ever understand the symbolism, just like we don't understand our symbols in dreams.
Yeah.
But it affects the different parts of the body with like a symbol trying to give you a message.
I get it, yeah.
And see, the hands and the arms, it's holding on and not letting go.
Uh-huh.
This is what causes arthritis in some people, too, not wanting to let things go.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm getting from this is he needs a whole change of life here. He needs to let all of this go and get out of it.
You know, I've been kind of a block in that respect, as I realize now, because I have been reluctant to. It would be us moving away from the ranch, and I love the ranch, and I love the ranch life, and I've been resisting that.
Would you have to?
Well, if he doesn't get better, we will, because I can't continue to provide all his care. It's almost to the point where I can't do it.
Can you hire somebody to do it?
It's very hard because we're 50 miles from town.
Uh-huh.
So it's very hard to find someone, that's willing to be in this area.
It had to be somebody who would live there all the time.
Yeah.
Probably.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, see, these are things that you're going to have to work out. But I can see, I live out in the country, and I know I don't want to move to the city.
Yeah.
I like being out by myself.
Oh, me too.
So you like being out there.
Yep. Very much. And he does too. It's just he feels like he's getting ready to pass over, and he wants to be near his children also, who are all the way across the state from us.
But see, if he thinks he's going to pass over, the mind is strong enough, he can make it happen.
He could do it, yeah.
Anybody can, because the body will be more than willing to oblige if that's what you want to do.
Well,
is that the best thing?
I don't want him to do it. That's for sure.
But what does he want? That's the important thing.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because we can't, free will there, we can't make up other people's minds, and that makes it harder.
Exactly.
But he's going to have to come to terms with what does he want.
You know, I'm going to talk this over with him and see what, if, you know, we can get some...
Does he want to let go the partnership? Does he want to move? What does he really want to do?
He wants to stay on the ranch, but he does want to let go of the partnership. That I'm sure of.
Okay, that sounds to me like one of the things that are causing most of the problem.
Okay.
Because it does manifest itself in those parts of the body, holding on and not moving forward, not moving out of it.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, maybe it would help if you did sit down with him and talk to him. Just say, tell me what you really feel. What do you really think? He's probably afraid to really let it out, you know?
I think he is, because he won't tell me really unless we're having a screaming fit. Then he'll finally tell me. And I don't like to go there, but
yeah.
You know,
but sometimes men especially have a hard time discussing what's really important to them.
Yeah.
Their feelings especially.
Yeah, that's right. He does.
You know, you haven't been married that long. He's probably afraid if he says anything, how will you take it?
Yeah.
That's probably why he's not really discussing things. But maybe if you tell him, I just want to know, I want to know how you feel, I want to know what you think, what do you think is the best thing. No judgment, just talk about it.
Right. I think we can do that.
Let him tell you what is really going on deep down inside.
Okay.
That may be the first step. Because, the medications and all of that, they just mask the problem.
That's right. Exactly.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on something.
I know that.
Now, getting to the cause. Because there is a cause. We do this to ourselves, and why? That's what we have to find out. Why do we do it?
That's why I asked you.
This is what I work with every day. Everybody has something different, but it's amazing how I see time and time again the same parts of the body with the same answer.
Well, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
And with our logical mind, we don't want to look at it. We think, oh, that don't make sense. Oh, my body just gets sick. But we give it permission to do that. Now, why?
Right.
But that's what you want to find out, because if he really doesn't want to be here, he can make himself go.
Right. I know that.
And that's why you need to talk to him before it gets to that point.
Yeah. Well, I am going to do that. I'm going to do that as soon as I get off the phone.
Okay. Just tell him I want to sit down and have a nice, long talk. And don't let him get out of it. Let him just tell me what you feel. Tell me what you're thinking.
Right.
Because if you love each other, that's the most important thing of all, to understand each other.
Exactly.
Remember that men have a harder time revealing their feelings.
Yeah. And he's of the old school. He's the old school, too.
They have to be the strong one.
Right,
nothing can be wrong with them.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, I think you should talk to him and just see what happens.
Well, I will certainly do that, and I really appreciate, I know that this is not exactly the appropriate, but a question for you at this time, but you've given me some wonderful insights, and I'm going to act on them.
It was meant to be, otherwise it wouldn't have happened.
Well, thank you.
I hardly ever get anybody calling in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they always say they want to listen.
Well,
so I was surprised when that tone went off. I think, well, that's what it is, but nobody ever calls. Okay. Well, but maybe it's helped somebody else out there, too, who is listening.
Well, I hope it has, because I know it's helped me, and it's given me the courage to just sit him down and,
you never know.
Make him think.
You never know what you say or what you do, how it will affect somebody else.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's very important. We never realize that. One word, one smile, everything can mean so much to somebody else, and we never realize it.
Yeah.
So I think right now you got to sit down and talk to him, and heart to heart.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Dolores. I really appreciate it.
And I wish you lots of luck.
Yeah, I'm blessed
You can work this out. I know you can.
I think we can now.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was a little bit of a surprise because I was not expecting to have anyone call in, but I guess there was a reason for that. And maybe somebody else out there is having the same things, and it might have helped them to know these things. In my early days when I did the show, I went over lots of old cases, and I did lots of reasons why people had different illnesses. But I haven't discussed it much since then. It's on the early files in the archives, some of the cases that I've gone through. But it is amazing how we do make ourselves sick. And if our minds are that powerful, we can heal ourselves. And we have to understand that every cell in our body has a consciousness. It is alive. Every cell in our body is alive, and it has a consciousness. And if we can talk to those cells, if we can talk to those parts of our body, it will listen. It's almost as though we are the voice of God, and like, where did you come from? You haven't been paying attention to me, and now all of a sudden you're speaking to me, and it will pay attention. And what I always do, and they, the subconscious that I work with keeps emphasizing this too. You talk to your body every day. And if you have something wrong, you can talk your body into health by telling it what you want it to do. But you must always address it in the plural as we. This is what we want to do. Now, what I do myself is every morning or a couple of times during the day, I will always say, we have a strong body, we have a healthy body, we have a good body. We have a good body, we have a strong body, we have a healthy body. We have a strong body, we have a healthy body, we have a good body. And our body is functioning in complete balance and harmony, absolutely perfectly. And this is, I guess you might say, my mantra or whatever. It is an affirmation, but it does work. Because the body, we are not a body. We have a body. And this body is a collection of thousands and millions of cells, all doing their own job. A lot of them are doing jobs as being a heart, or being job of being a liver, or a kidney, or a muscle, or a nerve. They all have their job to play, and the body functions together as a unit. But it really is like a universe into itself, if you want to look at it like that. We are actually housing an entire universe inside of our body, composed of millions of cells. They're all going about their business. They're all doing what they're supposed to be doing, just like we are in our own life. And a lot of us aren't even aware there is a kind of a higher power, I guess, if you want to call it that. But I was always taught this way, and this my company has published 3 books by Dr. O.T. Bonnet, and in his books, he was a doctor for 40 years before he retired. He ran a hospital in New Mexico. And he wrote these books talking about how you can communicate with your body and make yourself well. The one book is called Why Healing Happens, and the other book is called What I Learned After Medical School. And he says you must always address the body as we, because you are not a body, you have a body. and you work in unison with all of the millions of parts of that body. The parts, the cells, everything. It's beautiful. It is so wonderful the way the body operates and the way it can take care of itself. But you can communicate with it, and you can really make the body healthy. You can work with it. If there's anything wrong with it, you can talk to it and say, okay, why are you doing this? What are you trying to tell me? What message are you trying to give me? What is there about it? And you communicate with it, and you'll begin to understand. You may get the messages in dreams, or you may just get them in intuitions, because the subconscious does like to function with symbols in dreams. But if you really want to know what it is, why did I make myself sick, then you can communicate with the body and see what happens. And believe me, your mind is way, way stronger than you think it is. But I've dealt with many, many cases of cancer, and I've found cancer, especially in the colon area, the intestinal area, is caused from anger, holding anger in, suppressing anger. And, of course, the doctors do agree that stress causes much of these things. It causes heart problems. It causes cancer because the body is under a constant stress. This they do know, and they recognize that. But I've found if the person has a lot of deep-seated anger, sometimes going back many, many years, I've had some cases where they've been angry since childhood, and they have not let it go, and they hold it in. And after a while, sometimes they can't talk to anybody. There's nobody they can tell about it. They usually say, I don't have a problem. It's your problem. And they don't want to sit down and discuss it. Maybe it makes them seem weak or something if they agree that there is something that they can't handle. But they hold this anger in. After a while, it begins to churn around in their body and begins to eat away at the organs because it has no release. And that's what I've found is the cause of a lot of the cancer, also other intestinal diseases. It just gets in there and turns around. Now, I tell people the best thing they can do is release it and let it go. But I've had people, usually it's another person in their life, and the ideal situation is to forgive that person and release them and let it go. Once you do that, they have no more power over you. They cannot control you. They cannot push your buttons. And believe me, it's pushing buttons. It's a game people play. And they know what buttons to push to set you off. You all know people like that in your life. It's a game with them. But if you release them and forgive them and let it go, tell them mentally, you can't do it face-to-face, but tell them mentally, I tear up the contract, I release you, I let you go, I forgive you. After that, it doesn't work anymore. They can't hurt you because you have released them and let them go. But I have people tell me, how can I forgive them? You don't know what they did to me. But that is their problem. That is their karma. They're going to have to pay for it. They're going to have to pay it back. What goes around comes around. Nobody gets out of anything. No matter how unjust you think it is, no matter how you think you've been hurt, and they're getting away with all these things, believe me, nobody gets away with anything. If it's not paid back in this lifetime, it will be paid back in another lifetime. What goes around comes around. And they will have to be worked out. There's no way it cannot be. But you don't want a part in that. Otherwise, when they come back to repay the karma they have created, you'll still be involved with it. You'll have to be working it out with the same people. And I know you don't want that. Some people have told me, no, I want to get rid of that. I don't want to come back with the same people and do it again, because many times people have set up a pattern to where they have been doing this for many lifetimes with the same person. And it's time to let it go. Enough is enough. When we come into this life, we make contracts with these people. And they usually say, well, we didn't do such a good job last time, did we? Let's come back and do it again. This time you be the husband, I'll be the wife. Or you be the mother, I'll be the daughter. We can switch roles around. It happens all the time. But we come back into this life with all the best intentions in the world. We want to work these things out because we know we have to repay the karma. So we come into this life, what happens? It just still stays the same way because we haven't found out the cause. We haven't really tried to work it out. And it just keeps going round and around and around. That's what they call the wheel of karma. It goes round and around and around. You're not getting out of anything. So the idea is to release them and let them go with love. You go your way, I'll go mine. We don't have to do this anymore. And remember, this is on the mental level. You can't do it face to face. They won't understand what you're talking about. Mentally, you can say, I tear up the contract. I let it go. I release you. With love. You go your way, I go mine. We don't need to be involved in this anymore at all. I had one man come to see me who had cancer in just about every part of his body. The doctors would operate on one part and thought they had it fixed, and then it would pop up in another part of his body. They'd operate there, and it'd pop up in another part of his body. And so when I was talking to him, I said, are you angry at anyone? And he almost exploded. He said, yes. He said, my ex-wife, I hate her. He said, she has the children, and she won't let me see them. You see what he was doing. Hate is an extremely strong emotion. He was holding all that inside against her. And I told him, you're going to have to forgive her and release it and let it go. Now, I didn't say this was easy. It's not easy. It's difficult. But what's the alternative? So I said, you're going to have to release it and let it go. He said, but if I do that, then she has won. And I said, she'll win if she kills you. What's the alternative? Let them go, get it out of your life, or to let it kill you. Not much of an alternative, is there? But this is what I've found again and again with different things like this. The stress of the body, what part of the body it affects, what is going on with your life at that time. I've had people who, when I've worked with them, well, they come in and they say they hate their job so much that they want to commit suicide. Many have told me this, and they are very sincere about it. And I always say, no job is worth that. You can always find another job. But they say, no, they feel trapped. There's no way out, and they're going to commit suicide. So anyway, as we talk about all of these things, and I've gotten thousands and thousands of cases, I found, what the body will do if this is what you want. It will create a heart attack. A heart attack would be an acceptable excuse, wouldn't it? If you look at it with all emotions removed. Oh, I can't go to work anymore. I had a heart attack. I can't do that anymore. That's an acceptable way to get out of an undesirable situation. I can't work if I'm sick. So look a little deeper into these causes, into these things. Why are these things happening to my body? Why am I doing this to myself? If you really want to get well, and I mean really, really, I have some people come to me and say they want to be well, but the more we talk, we know they really don't. There's a reason why they want to hang on to it. If you really want help, look at yourself deep inside and say, why did I do this to myself? Why did I give myself permission to become ill? Now, I don't need it anymore. I can take it away. Now, believe me, it does work. This is what I work with all the time. The only difference is in my sessions, I remove the conscious mind, which is always sitting there saying, oh, this is silly. I'm making it up. Oh, that's not real. It's not going to work. That's the conscious mind in there. I get that conscious mind totally out of the picture. Then we can go to work with the subconscious, find out why did the person become ill? Is it caused by a past life, or is it caused by things in this life? And then the subconscious can fix it if it is appropriate, if it is what is meant to be. Even Jesus couldn't heal everybody. He would look at the person, and if he could see it was their karma to have the illness, he could not interfere. He could relieve pain, but he couldn't take it away unless it was allowed. He saw the same thing. Anyway, we got way off the track. I was going to give a different kind of a show tonight, but you know, what happens, happens, and I figured this was probably the way it was supposed to go. Anyway, I'll be going to Australia and New Zealand, 2 weeks in New Zealand. I'll be giving a class in Wellington. Then the middle of October, I'll be heading over to Australia. I'll be in Melbourne first, doing lectures. I'll be doing private sessions, but the private sessions have already been booked. So I'll be doing lectures, and I'm going to be doing class in my technique in Melbourne. Then I go, I think it's toward the end of October, I'll be in Perth. I'll be in Perth for 2 weeks. I'll be doing lectures and my class in Perth. Then I will be speaking at the Conscious Living Expo in Perth, because I work with Patricia Hamilton, who has the Conscious Living magazine there, and she's been on my show. She is putting on the Conscious Living Expo in Perth, and I'll be there giving some lectures. Then my last stop, I'll be going on to Sydney, where I will also do lectures and another class in Sydney. So if anybody's interested in information about these classes, or if you're interested in having a private session with me, or if you're interested in classes in the United States, any of these things, you can contact me. The 800 number for my company, Ozark Mountain Publishing, is 1-800-935-0045. 1-800-935-0045. Or you can go on my website, www.ozarkmountain, and it's abbreviated, OZARKMT.com. OZARKMT.com. And you can check on my schedules, or you can do emails to me, and we'll see what we can do. Right now, there's no more room for private sessions until December, because, as I said, I'm going out of the country. But if you call, we can work about working a session in, or you can get in some more classes. I've got more classes coming up the first of the year in the States. So we'll be able to work you into anything that you want to be in. You can ask questions about how it's all done. So contact me or my company if you're interested. All right, and so even though they took a different twist, I guess it was meant to be. So good night, everybody. Next week I won't be talking to you because I'm going to be in Ashtabula. But good night, everyone.
If you enjoyed the show, check out more of our other videos and be sure to subscribe and click the like button. Thank you for listening to the Metaphysical Hour with Dolores Cannon.